Well, most of you out there watching seem to really enjoy our videos about standard service assault rifles. And so, continuing on this topic, let's head over to the Netherlands to look at their search for a rifle to replace their C7s and C8s. Well, we've come a long way from where we were during our first few months of this channel. Yes, our focus is on the Baltics. It's in the name of our channel, after all. But if we're posting videos daily or near daily, it gives us a bit of freedom to go a little further afield. And perhaps, like our coverage of the UK's Project Greyburn, our excuse today is that Dutch forces are part of the NATO battle group in Lithuania, so there's at least a loose connection to the Baltics. And so, getting to the actual topic, it was back in April 2025 that we learned that the Netherlands would be replacing its Colt Canada C7 and C8 assault rifles. As explained by the website CZ Defense, many of these rifles have been in service with the Dutch Army since the 1980s. Produced by Colt Canada, previously known as Dymaco, the C7s and C8s for the Dutch forces are now designated C7 NLD and C8 NLD respectively, after modifications were made in 2009. We'll go into more details a little later on in this video. About 25,000 of these rifles are in use. The website Winneers Week highlights that the Colt Canada rifles are in use by the Royal Netherlands Army, Air Force, Navy and Marechaussee, which perform a border guard role among other things. You may already know, perhaps from one of our recent videos, that Danish forces also used these rifles. Without the 2009/2010 upgrades made by the Netherlands, the Danish C7s and C8s were known as the M95 and the Carbine M96, within that country's military. It should also be noted that the C7 NLD made an appearance in Ukraine earlier this year, as it's estimated that the Netherlands sent as many as 10,000 C7 pattern rifles to Ukraine. The website Armourer's Bench reported that this makes it one of the most common AR-15/M16 pattern rifles in theatre. Both the C7 and C8 are derivatives of the AR-15 platform and thus similar to the M16 and M4 respectively. Slight improvements in design and manufacturing, as well as changes in the ability for handguards to accommodate accessories, have prompted militaries to replace the old rifles. Even Colt Canada, moving with the times, has updated its offerings with the C8 IUR, or Integrated Upper Receiver, and updated the IUR more recently with the C8 MRR, or Modular Rail Rifle. And as we reported in our other video, it was this MRR variant that was chosen by the Danes as their next standard service rifles. It's notable that the existing Dutch rifles have been undergoing modernization since 2009 and will reach the end of their technical service lives in 5 years or so. The 2009 upgrades included an adjustable stock, modified fire selector, extractor, and handguard. Rifles received vertical grip with built-in bipods for stabilized shooting while in the prone position. But will the Dutch be following the Danes in sticking with Colt Canada as their supplier? Well, it looks like they're taking the opportunity to shop around a bit more. CZ Defense reported that some analysts are speculating that the Netherlands may go with rifles from Germany's Heckler & Koch, either the HK416 or HK433. It was also stated that Czech manufacturer Česká zbrojovka Uherský Brod, or Colt CZ Group, was being looked at. More specifically, its CZ Bren 2 assault rifles. Also mentioned were the following rifles: the Italian Beretta ARX 160, the SIG MCX from Sig Sauer, and the FN Scar, which is an American-Belgian project. That site we referenced earlier, Winneers Week, notes that the heavier Heckler & Koch HK416 is also used by troops of the Commando Corps, and this has led the Ministry of Defense towards this model for the rest of its forces. The HK416 is also used by Dutch Maritime Special Operations Forces. From our research, it seems like this is the front-runner, but a final decision has yet to be made. Dutch publication Weet magazine stated in October 2025 that a carbine from Sig Sauer with a 6.8mm caliber was under consideration as well, with a source stating, "This weapon is currently being tested in the United States." Now, from the sound of this quote, it seems like the Dutch are testing it in the United States. However, even from recent news, we can see that SIG and US forces themselves are still working on refining the M7, So at least for us, it's unclear how serious of a contender the SIG MCX is, either in a 5.56 or 6.8mm chambering. Again, all of this is what we could find based on our research, and we're thus not sure if there are Dutch sources out there that we missed. What we didn't find in our searches was any mention that the Dutch were considering the C8 MRR from Colt Canada. Logistically, it would make sense to just carry on with what is essentially the same weapon, but at this point, we'll really just have to wait and see which direction the Dutch go. If it has to be something different, the HK416 would make a lot of sense given that it's already in use with some Dutch forces, has been adopted by the French and Germans as their standard service rifle, and it's very similar in operation as the C7/C8. It's another AR pattern rifle after all. While Canadians seem to make solid rifles, the logistics and politics of the matter would seem to point towards the 416. But that's just our 2 cents. And so we have to apologize a little bit that we couldn't find more details about the Netherlands' search and consideration for a new standard service rifle. Maybe the decision's already been made behind closed doors. Or maybe things are at the other end where it's still too early to tell. But what do you think about all of this? Would you be disappointed if the Dutch joined the French and Germans with the HK416? Should they follow the Danish and get the C8 MRR? Or perhaps go in some other direction? Let us know what you think by leaving a comment.